All right, so we're here and we're in opposite ends of the scale here with our debate.
Oh,
Yeah.
Can you help us settle this debate as you join us on this week's episode of the 128 Gaming Podcast? See what I did there?
Yeah,
It's like a video.
That. It was like a
intro.
video. Yeah, we actually introed it rather than just going, hi.
It's almost like we're professional. We need someone to pay us first to be professional.
Yeah, so if you would like to pay us, let us know.
So today we've got a good one cooking up for you.
Yeah.
And it is about the GameCube.
Oh, yes.
Yes, GameCube games.
Yep.
And their remastering or their inclusion on Nintendo Switch
That's
Online.
it. Will Nintendo go down the route of Metroid Prime Remastered and remaster their GameCube games as standalone sales, or will they bring GameCube to the Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack? Is kind of what we're discussing here.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because it's firstly, it's the missing piece of the puzzle for the Nintendo Switch Online.
Yeah.
But we're in the age of the remaster.
Yes.
And it's everything's being remastered. All the great franchises from the past are.
Yeah.
And more specifically, we've seen it just now with Metroid Prime, which is obviously like just for you. They like, but Andy, this is just for you.
It really is.
Stop going on about it. And your first response was, I wish it was trilogy.
I know it was, wasn't it? I've been like waiting for this, knowing it's going to be happening for so long, and then was like, yeah, it's just going to be number one though, but I wish it was trilogy.
Oh, yeah, it's great, but I want all three.
But
please.
I do think they'll probably bring 2 and 3, maybe, but it wouldn't surprise me if they didn't. But either way, I'm glad that they really honed in on Metroid Prime Remastered as well as they did. They've really done this with love.
Yeah.
Like Metroid Prime 1, it's one of the best games ever. It's one of the highest rated games ever released.
Yeah.
And this remaster, like they have gone above and beyond. It is beautiful.
It is beautiful. We're in the age of the remaster, as I said, or the remake even.
Yeah. The line's kind of blurred, aren't they?
Yeah,
They
remaster,
really do.
remake. I mean, let's just say it's the same thing.
Yep.
But like, we see it with some of the biggest franchises. Resident Evil's gone through a whole series of them.
Yeah,
We've got 4 coming up soon.
Yeah.
Next month, actually, 4.
Yeah, it will be this month, actually.
This month, by the time this goes out. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oops,
March.
I've let everyone behind the curtain. We don't film these in advance, they're live.
They are live, yeah.
Resident Evil this month. Obviously, we've seen the Final Fantasies. There's a huge amount of remaking of games from about 20 years ago. Coming out again.
Yeah, it's the sort of early 2000s
Which
stuff.
is bang on GameCube
Best
territory.
games. Yeah, all the best
Oh,
stuff.
it's some of the best games ever.
Get this.
Yeah.
Resident Evil 4
Yeah.
on the original cover art says only for Nintendo GameCube.
Really?
Yeah. It was an exclusive launched on the GameCube.
Here's something else. I never played it. Never played it.
Have you still never played it?
Still not played it.
What?
I know.
We could do an entire episode about this. Resident Evil 4 is up there with my love of Metroid. Resident Evil 4 is possibly my all-time favorite game of all time.
Where does it rank in Resident Evil games? Number 1?
Oh, yeah. For me, we're number 1.
Better than Resident Evil 2?
Yeah. Resident Evil 4 is like...
What's your second best?
For Resident Evil?
If you say something like Nemesis, I'm going to slap you.
No, I'd probably say 2.
Okay.
I have a big love for the first one because I was stuck with that for so long. I played it on so many different systems. But Resident Evil 4 in particular, like that game right there, I've owned that more than I've owned Skyrim. And I've owned Skyrim on every release, I think. So,
that's a really good one.
I've bought Resident Evil 4 multiple times. I still play it to this day.
So, well, I'll play the remake. Remaster, whatever it is. It's a remake. It's a remake.
It's a complete ground up remake, and I am hyped.
So that takes us really nicely because it was a GameCube exclusive for a while.
Yeah, it was.
And obviously Prime was. I think, personally, they're just going to remake the biggest hitters from the GameCube.
Big hits, yeah.
I'm not sure we're going to see them put the originals on the Nintendo Switch Online.
Now, when you say that, do you mean you don't think they're going to put the originals of the remakes online, or do you think they're going to make big heavy hitter remakes and remasters and bring out other random games online to the Switch expansion pack? Or are you saying they're only going to make remasters and that's it and it will never come online?
I think they've drawn the line.
I am skeptical because I think that the way that they've been late to the party creating Nintendo Switch Online and the expansion pack you know, we're in 2023.
Yeah, totally.
The Switch came out in 2017, right?
Yeah.
And this is all relatively new the past couple of years. I know the baseline Switch Online's been out for a while, but even that was late.
Yeah.
And now they're ramping it up with the Game Boy Advance and all that good stuff that's finally padding it out.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see the online subscription service bleed over into the next Switch successor. And I think they're going to keep expanding on that. So everything that's available now, I think is going to be available on the Switch 2.
Yeah.
Or whatever comes afterwards. So I think they're going to bring eventually the GameCube over to that system. Whether or not it happens during the Switch lifespan, not too sure. But again, we touched on this in another video about our Game Boy and Game Boy Advance stuff. With the Wii U and 3DS shops shutting, well, that Wii U had GameCube games on the online service. That's now no longer there.
That's an interesting point that I didn't consider. They were on there. So maybe they will then. You've made actually already, what are we, like 5 minutes in, you've changed my mind. I hadn't considered that. My head was that they've got limited resources. It's Nintendo, so it's the big boys, but they've got limited resources still.
Yeah.
There's only so many things they can do. And
of course.
I feel like there's more value for them as a return in focusing on big remasters and remakes.
Totally.
Like Prime is going to be huge.
Oh, yeah. And you think, like, yes, it's still not a full price game, you know, £35.
Yeah, but they'll sell in the millions of copies.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Whereas if they just released like the original one on the expansion pack, well, what's that? Like how $10 a month or something? I don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's not going to get many more subscribers.
No.
But a new looking game will.
Yeah, people will buy into that, especially people that have waited to play it or heard about it.
So maybe you're right. Like it's somewhere in the middle. It's not immediate, but we will see it near the end of the Switch going into what I hope they call the Super Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
I really hope they call it that.
They'll just do the 3DS and just call it the new Switch.
Oh, they probably will. Rubbish names.
Or they make just a home console again, which I really hope they never do again.
My opinion isn't that I don't want to see them there. I think it would be really cool.
Oh, yeah.
Mainly because I want to see a first-party Nintendo wireless GameCube controller.
I know you've been waiting to talk about that.
Like itching. Yeah. It took me like 5 minutes to get it in there. I just wanted it out there. Seeing how popular the third-party ones are, the grip case from
the retro flag.
Flag.
I mean, it was inspired.
Of course it was, and the Nixie Wizard, which is obviously inspired.
That's just a Wavebird ripoff. Yep.
Yeah. We saw they were massively popular on the channel.
Oh yeah.
They sold out instantly, and then they had to open pre-orders. And it's primarily for nostalgia for people like me, but also there's the huge amount of Smash players that there still are.
Huge Smash community. Yeah.
If they did a first-party version, it would fly.
Oh yeah, they would literally could just take the original GameCube Wavebird wireless controller. Because the Wavebird was for anyone that doesn't know, you had the GameCube controller that was wired. Right, and then the wireless one was called the Wavebird, and you had like a 2.4 gigahertz dongle, whatever, that you put in the front of the GameCube, put your batteries in, and then you've got a wireless controller. It was mind-blowing. It was platinum color. I remember buying it like early 2000s. Blew my mind. It was like the first wireless controller that I ever had, I think. They could literally just take that and one-for-one clone it, just like they've done with the N64 controller and all those ones. They could literally just make that, and it would be insane. I'd probably buy like 4 of them straight off the bat.
I think that's fair.
You know, and they could do that. And if they made it work with other games like Smash, they would make a killing if they stocked it enough. Not that they do with any of their controllers.
No, they're always massively short runs. So there's huge incentive for them to do the online thing in that sense. But maybe there's just more return for making jazzed up remakes.
Yeah. See, I think it's completely in the middle. I think because they've already started this train of Super Mario Sunshine is on the 3D All-Stars pack, which, you can't buy that anymore because they did that stupid, it's available for 6 months and then we're never selling it.
Do you know, weirdly though, it's very available in secondhand shops.
Yeah, because they produced like a trillion of them thinking they would sell out instantly.
Yeah.
And they're still for sale new in some places. People still have stock. So I think they shot the mark there. But anyway, so that's available. Then now we've got Metroid Prime Remastered, which is insane. And to be honest, I much prefer having the remaster than just the original.
Is the Resident Evil 4 coming to Switch, the remake?
No.
That's
but
so ironic.
The Switch has, it is ironic, isn't it? But the Switch has the original.
Yeah.
So, it's already there.
Yeah.
And the original is fantastic. So I've got that on Switch anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as I'm aware, the remake of 4 isn't coming to Switch. Maybe to the Switch 2 in the future.
Yeah. Okay.
It was kind of sad that it started on GameCube.
What titles would you hope to see remade?
Remade, definitely. Well, everyone knows what I'm going to say if you know us already.
Let me guess.
Yeah.
Is it Metroid?
No. Well, yeah, no, I was actually going across that, but yes,
Yeah.
I would love to see Metroid 2,
Yeah.
which was on GameCube as well. Metroid 3 was actually a Wii title, but besides the point, I'd love to see those. My one actually is F-Zero GX.
Yeah.
GX. So the one that was Sega and Nintendo.
Yeah.
Because that is like pinnacle, and I think that's why they never bothered making another F-Zero game, because they went, they can't get any better than this.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And that's fair. It's right up there.
It is, but having a Prime remastered F-Zero GX, that I would pay full price for that. Like absolutely all day long. I would. That would be insane. Like what they've done to Prime. I know it wouldn't be the same studio, but if they can do that to that, imagine what F-Zero GX would be like. That would be phenomenal. So I'd love to see that game. I did have a list and I've forgotten what it is.
Get your list out. Get your list out.
Well, off the top of my head, everyone's been wanting Wind Waker.
Yeah.
And also Twilight Princess. I've never played Twilight Princess, but they could totally rehash those. I mean, they've done it with Skyward Sword. Yeah. I know that was a Wii title, not a GameCube game, but they redid that, like HD remastered that. And that is great. I've played Skyward Sword for the first time on Switch. Really enjoyed that remake. So Wind Waker would be lush because it already looks great. You look at the GameCube version already. It doesn't even need tweaking, to be honest. So that could be something they could just throw onto the online service, but it would sell better, I imagine, as a standalone copy. Twilight Princess, I think, needs some cleaning up. Different graphics style. It's not cel shaded like Wind Waker was. But that would be really cool to, again, remaster like properly as a standalone release, or maybe do a double pack like Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, like we've all been wanting.
So I guess the question really is, which would you prefer, as a big Nintendo fan, what would you prefer to see? Would you prefer to see these remasters, remakes, or just give me the originals on Switch Online? If you had to choose between.
Remake, I think.
Yeah?
Yeah, because there's already so many other ways of playing the originals. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can just go out and buy, like, I've still got my GameCube.
Yeah.
I've got the Carby HD converter.
But the problem with the GameCube is it's not particularly friendly to play on modern TVs.
No, it's not.
It's a little bit janky.
Yeah,
still,
you have to really want to do it. You know, and even then it's not amazing. So I think I would rather have, like, seeing it again, the Metroid Prime Remaster, just seeing how amazing that looks. Like, if you didn't tell anyone that was a remake of a 20-year-old game, people would just be jumping at that straight away because it's fantastic. So I think I would rather see like freshened up versions and make them real shine. Take great games and make them greater. And don't mess with the formula just like Prime. It's the same game underneath. It's got some, bling on the top. And I think that would probably sell it to newbies better rather than going, oh, look at this free stuff online that you kind of pay a sub for, and people just go, eh.
That's
they can't market it as much.
Yeah, the inherent flaw with the Switch Online stuff is, barring the Game Boy games that recently released, they buck this trend slightly, but mostly it just plays into nostalgia. So for people that like 25 and above, it's nostalgia of their childhood. Yeah. And that's what's playing off, which is great. But that's a whole generation excluded.
Yes.
The young generation of gamers.
Yeah. Where
remasters work and remakes work.
And I think they appeal to everybody once they're done right. Like, I've not seen a single person complain about Metroid.
You turn everything to Metroid. I'll turn everything to Final Fantasy. Yeah. Look at Final Fantasy VII and what the chapter of remaking has done for that franchise. It was already one of the biggest games ever. As a franchise goes. Yeah. But it introduced Final Fantasy VII lore to this new generation, rather than, because they had done a remaster release and it wasn't very good. It's still that horrible polygon graphics that if you're not living in nostalgia, it's just not very good.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it managed to reintroduce that whole thing. And now there's this big momentum surrounding it again.
But even that same point, I've always tried to get into Final Fantasy VII, but just never really did.
Yeah.
But the remake, like, that's right up my street. And I'm like, it's now accessible to me.
Yeah.
And I actually want to experience this refreshed, classic. And I think that's definitely the point of these dedicated remasters. But I totally also think there is space for having the online where other games could be. I'd love to see like Beautiful Joe. Like, I haven't seen that game in years. Like, that was fun. The cell shaded like beat 'em ups, kind of side scrolling. Like, that was really cool. I remember that. I had that back in the day.
Sadly though, Nintendo haven't got a great history of releasing the games you want.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it would be really random ones. But there is so many good games on the GameCube, even though it didn't sell like massively. There's still some really good games that probably don't need the remaster treatment, that could just be thrown up online. And I really do think just seeing that they've started from the beginning with this whole online thing, going from the NES, SNES, and going up and doing the Game Boys and stuff and the N64, it just seems like the next one along is the GameCube.
A topic for a different discussion that I just want to raise here so it's in our memories, when we're talking about the Switch Online, is do you think we'll see other Sega consoles on there?
I don't know, because they don't seem to be caring much about the Mega Drive and Genesis right now, do they?
They really don't care about it. I can't even remember
the last time they released games for it. I really don't know.
But would we see a Master System?
Just bring Dreamcast. Just screw it for now.
That's what I was going to get to.
Yeah,
Would you get to Saturn, Dreamcast?
Yeah. Dreamcast I would love that.
I mean, yeah. They'd be the two big ones to focus on. Maybe Game Gear.
Yeah.
Seeing how well the Game Boy was.
Yeah.
I can imagine some Game Gear games would be really good.
That would be good, yeah, to be fair. Because I've still got my Game Gear and I've got some games.
You know how much I loved the Game Gear. And it was probably because I didn't have one.
Yeah.
But it'd be great to see that. Anyway, that's way off topic and something for maybe
definitely. But I think the natural progression of Switch Online is GameCube, and I even think we could potentially see Wii on there if they bring it to the Switch 2. Like I said, my thought is that this online service will carry over to the next generation.
I think,
I think that they've started all the rubbish stuff.
Start off weak.
Yeah. No, but they brought the NES and the games are right, like whatever. But now they get into the good stuff. They dropped Game Boy and Game Boy Advance. Now it's like getting the momentum, keep it going strong, bring GameCube over, bring some games onto that. Do your remakes. Do your like really good remakes that you can sell one-offs and make everyone happy. But then even bring the originals as well. Screw it. Why not? Sell the remakes to people that are going to buy it. If you've got a subscription service, just whack on the old one. There you go. Jobs are good.
That's interesting, yeah.
And then bring the Wii after that. Do you know what I mean? Like
the Wii would be...
Because they could literally just give you a sensor bar and the Wii remote and nunchuck again. They've already got probably about 50 million of them in a warehouse somewhere. Just give you old stock. There you go. 2007.
What you're suggesting with that is that it becomes the library of Nintendo.
Yeah, the history of Nintendo in one
and
system.
It should be Sega as well. But obviously they're just forgetting about that they've got that.
Yeah.
So ultimately, Nintendo won the console wars.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. But they could totally call it like something stupid. I don't know, the Nintendo One. And it's got the library of almost everything. Do you know what I mean? A bit of history for everything on there.
Yeah, like all Nintendo. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
But rather than looking too far into the future, it'd be great to see the GameCube on there. It would be great to see. I'm just not totally convinced. Although every time I say that, all I see in my head is the controller, and I go, the controller would be ace, and I think they know it would be ace.
Yeah, and there's so many good games. Again, you got Mario Kart on there, Double Dash. You got Super Smash Melee. The most popular one, which is why people love the controller and stuff. There's some really, really heavy hitters on GameCube. And they wouldn't even need to bring out like loads of games. Just put the good ones on there. Yeah. And you're good,
Wow. So, what do you guys think? Do you think we're going to see, or are they just going to focus on that kind of generation of remasters and remakes, which is kind of where my head's at? Yeah.
Well, just to put it there, if they don't bring it, that's the end of Switch Online right now. Like, they're not bringing anything else because they can't skip a generation. Do you know what I mean?
That's a really good point.
So essentially what we're saying is, if that's the case, the Game Boy and Game Boy Advance games
It's the
are
end.
the last things.
Unless they bring the Game Gear.
Yeah, they might do. They might do. The next one might be like Sega something, but last time they released Genesis alongside the N64.
They did. It was
to
like
me,
it was kind of snuck in, wasn't it?
So to me, it would be GameCube, and here's some random Sega thing.
Yeah. Oh, do you remember this Sega thing? No.
Well, we won't give you
32X.
games for it anyway.
It would be something really weird. The 32X. Like, no one had the Sega CD.
Yeah, that'd be it. Yeah.
No one had that.
But there you go. So I don't know. I think they will continue to polish the good stuff and potentially just put some random stuff online one day. I'm not expecting it anytime soon. Probably looking at next year.
Yeah, it'd be exciting to see. But until then, why not review the podcast? Leave us a little rating if you're listening to us on podcast. If you're watching us on YouTube, then thank you. Make sure you subscribe and leave a thumbs up. And while you're waiting for the next video or for the GameCube to be released on Nintendo Switch Online, you watch Andy talking about some Nintendo stuff. Maybe it's Steam Deck stuff. I don't know.
Could be anything.
/ Steam Deck.
/ yeah.
And if you're really, really bored, then, you could watch me here. I talk about PlayStation. Probably not interested. Until next week.
Bye.